whether you realise it or not. There's different layers of intuitives. Okay, you've got the clairaudient type, who are usually mediums. Okay, mediums is mediumship is specifically talking to dead people. You've got the clairvoyant types, who will see images. Okay, normally in the mind's eye, but sometimes you see them externally. And then you've got the clairsentients, who feel their intuitive process through the body. The majority of you in here are going to be clairsentient types. Okay? Then you add into a mix of that, you add in the touch types and the non-touch. So the touch types will go into someone's energy field, and the non-touches will pull out of an energy field, okay, in order to feel connection. So for some of you who are extreme touch, clairsentients, when you look for connection, you move into someone's field, and when they're pulling back, you'll assume rejection. And then in that assumption of rejection, you'll then go into withdrawal and then be very cautious about who you connect with. Okay? And then also you have the fake non-touch. And the fake non-touch are people who are high touch people, who are clairsentients, feeler types, who were brought into a family who were non-touch, extreme non-touch types. So their idea of love would have been reading you a story. Yours would have been just climb over somebody. Okay? It wasn't there, so you assume you're not loved, and so you then get into this fake non-touch thing. Okay? Does that make sense? So I can tell you who's touch and who's not touch and all this kind of thing. You can see already most of you are clairsentient types touch. You're extreme touch. But you can watch it dance around the room, because a touch is trying to go in, and then the non-touch is going. So they're literally doing this around the room. They say, "Well, I'm trying to connect with you." So the key is to work out what people are, and you can get them to do anything if you operate on the the right side of their energy system. Literally is. Do they get out the wrong side of bed? Yeah. If you get into the wrong side of their energy field, you will feel as though it's pounding straight at you. The key is to notice how yours operates, and then you can adjust to how somebody else's does. Okay. So these are the three crucial areas. So this, hopefully you can see this. Some of you will be, I utilise the tree of life, okay, pretty much through everything that I do, because it's a very, very handy way of looking at things. And these are Kabbalistic principles. So you've got Kabbalah with a K, that's the thing that Madonna's into. And you've got Kabbalah with a Q, which is a formation of the Hebrew foundations. Okay, the Hebrew version is a few thousand years old. What it utilizes is this thing called the tree of life. Now, it may just look like a whole bunch of numbers in a grid kind of thing, but it's actually the thing that holds the information about everything. You are in here, the universe is in here, the layers of consciousness are in here, how everything operates in here, and it's all in there when I say about the floods. So the numbers on there all mean something. Okay, if you match, it's numerology matched with, if you match numerology with Kabbalah, I do something called the life codes. You put the two together, it gives a very accurate interpretation of not only your internal world, but what is due to manifest in the external world. But I'm showing you this simply because I'm just going to show you how the different layers of consciousness add to it. I'm not sure you can see that, it's probably a bit small. Okay, I'll just give it to you just to show you here. This is how it forms over the body. Okay, so you've got the midsection, which is the consciousness line. You can match that to the chakras. Okay, so the 110 energy at the bottom, the root, is that's based with you in your physical world. Okay, that's you as the everyday person. The 9 vibration, which is on the sacral, that is around you as the subconscious. Okay, so the subconscious powers the physical world. It takes instruction. Okay, does that make sense? Yeah. The solar plexus is the connection point between the 7 and the 8 energy, which is head and emotion. So it's between your head and feelings. Okay, we all get confused at time. Which bit's instinct? Which bit's imagination? Where does it get confused? In the solar plexus. Okay. 6 vibration is the soul. Okay, so it's the soul's connection. So the soul connects, how the soul connects through the subconscious into the physical world. The heart center sits around the dynamic of the 5 and the 4, which is will and love. So without will and love, there is no manifestation. It cannot create in the physical world and sustain if you haven't got those 2 energies present. Okay, if one skipped out, the other can't. It cannot maintain itself. Okay, that's why people who win the lottery lose it all, because they don't feel worthy of keeping it. There's will, but there's no love, and the love has to be for the self, but they feel worthy of allowing it to maintain itself in the physical world. Okay. The throat is around the Darth energy, and the Darth is about challenge. It's it's the deepest root of your challenges in life. It's those things that whip up where you weren't expecting, and it takes your legs out. Literally, they are things that really stir up the emotions because it's outside of your control, but they're extremely good for you. Because those things are on reflection were tremendous learning curves in life that you really appreciate now. At the time, you hated it. Okay, those are very centered around the throat. It's around communication. So most intuitive sensitives will have an issue around the throat chakra. Normally, if I do meditation or what have you, or I start talking about it, everyone starts choking. Okay, because it then stirs up the energies that get stuck there. Because everything that you wanted to say and everything you haven't said is all stuck between the jawline. Is normally in the jawline. So if you give me a load of pictures of jawlines, I can tell you all about their lives. Because everything about you is in here. Everything that you've tried to suppress and you've let out is all here. So what happens as you go further into your development, everyone says, oh gosh, you look younger. There's something about you that you think, oh, okay, you look younger. It's not Botox, okay? I'm really 82. And the reason is what they're actually saying is you're losing the tension in your jaw. Okay, so you're losing the build-up. People with very tight jaws, and it isn't a face. It's an energetic tightness in the jaw. When you see that energetically, you'll feel that you'll pull back from it. Okay, no one in here is going to have a tight jaw before you start going like that. Okay. The crown is the connection to whatever you see as the source. Okay, so as far as the tree of life is concerned, the top, the crown, exposed as the ultimate, is your connection to all that is. Within the foundations of the tree of life, there is no separation. So everything is an extension of you. Okay. So just to layer this, so it gives you a picture of how things work. So what we have, and this, hopefully this light will work, if you can see that. This line at the bottom here, this is the lower nature. Okay, so this is you as a physical body. The next layer is the astral. Okay, so the astral is it's a manifestation of emotion. So all of your emotions are in what's called the big donut in the sky, for a technical term. And the big donut in the sky is the part that you can interpret as psychic information. Okay, that's when you know who's going to be on the phone. That's the bit that you have a feeling that you should be in contact with so-and-so. If you've had very vivid dreams of people who've passed over, as though you met them. You did. Okay, you met them in the astral, and the reason that they met you on that level is because you couldn't cope with it in the physical. You'd be too freaked out. Okay, the next stage is for it then to be in the physical world. Okay, does that make sense? Who's had the meeting on the astral? Yeah. Then, as we go into the mental body, which is here, this is the line of your connection within the subconscious. So this is how all the stacking up in your subconscious over your lifetime, but also your ancestral path. So you're very emotionally connected to your, not only your parents, but their history too. So all of that lineage is still part of your energy system. And at some point or another, as your awareness opens up, your consciousness opens up, all that comes to the fore. Okay? So you get a bit of their manky old lettuce as well. Okay? So when all this is opening up, you get this very strong attraction to things like NLP, coaching, healing. It's the beginnings of psychic ability. Okay, it's the opening signs, and it's the opening signs are geared towards the heart center. Okay, you've all been through this phase, by the way. So as it moves deeper into the tree, this is about the soul and the soul's path. This is where you can no longer accept compromise, where it's very difficult to compromise your life. So if you do a line of work that you really don't like, it's getting more and more difficult for you to drag yourself in there every day. Okay, even though it pays the mortgage. At some point or another, you're very close to knocking it on the head. Okay, does that make sense? Who's already done that? Okay, yeah. So this is the next stage of the soul progression. Okay, so this is the healing of the personality, and it's the higher psychic senses, and it's the manifestations of desire. Okay, so this is the 3 stages: the mind management, the transition, and the soul realization. Okay, and this is how deep it goes into the tree. Then you go up into the top sections of the tree, which there may be terms that you've heard: the causal body, the Buddhic vibration, and the Atma. Okay, so these are those are energy; they're not physical manifestations. Okay, so that is pure consciousness. But in order for you to be able to sustain and have a strong realization of these vibrations, you have to have mastered these. Okay? Otherwise, you're away with the fairies. You cannot sustain properly in the physical world, in reality of the physical world, if you haven't mastered those vibrations.